from the bottom of that range. And here with us to talk about all of this is Chris Swift with Swift Trading. Chris, I'm going to go through these one at a time. First of all, your thoughts on this corn market here this morning as we see weakness here, even though we are still net short in this corn market as far as the contracts go.
It has been kind of interesting to see how many participants we still have in this market, and the fundamental aspect of it, as we saw, just seems to be fantastic, from the increase in number of acres to the weather that we just got through listening to. So I think that Tim's probably spot on there, that we've got some really good growing conditions out there for this year's crop.
Anything you're looking for in this afternoon's crop progress?
Not really. I think all the corn will be wrapped up. The conditions seem to be really good, and I would imagine you pretty much got all the beans wrapped up too. You'll still have some that'll go in after some wheat cuttings, but as far as the first crops that come in on beans, looks like most of that's already out.
And July beans are down 1 3/4 right now over on the big board. The new crop November beans down 3 1/2, 8.76 1/4. Anything technical here that we can look to? You know, we've got a NOPA crush report that's coming out here in just a little bit.
We do, and you know, beans last week just pretty much stayed sideways all weekend long. All week long. They had a little bit of a boost between 850 up into the 870 area, and here we still kind of sit around 876 right now, and that is up against the March highs. So we're kind of running into what looks a little like some price resistance here.
All right. Soybean crush report coming out later. We've got the meal turnaround. It's up 60 cents right now. 289.60. It started out a little bit weaker. The soybean oil still down 21 pennies at 27.29. Well, Chris, what do you think of this wheat market? It's under pressure as well. July Chicago down 1 1/2. The Kansas City wheat market has got to be kind of looking at what's going on with harvest. July down 4 3/4 at 443 3/4. Talked to my dad last night on the phone, and he said there in southwest Kansas, harvest has really gotten into high gear.
Well, it has, and we've just consolidated in wheat. We haven't been much below 480 nor much above 580 ever since March of last year. So it's kind of interesting to see how we're consolidating in here. And I have heard that some of the wheat crop won't be quite as good as what others had thought there will be. And we know that the Black Sea regions and some of the Ukrainian wheat had been a little bit lower, and so some of their export demand had been a little bit more. And we appreciated from that just a little bit last week, but then right back down again. Here we go again.
Well, Minneapolis wheat kind of setting itself aside here. We're up anywhere from 1 to 3 pennies. So what could that be related to?
I'm not real sure. I'm seeing September right now at 3/4, so they all look the same. They're all very congested on here, and the only thing I could think about that would be some of the drought that we see in those areas, the Montana, Wyoming, Colorado areas. That might have some of the impact on it there that's keeping it from being as weak as what the others are.
Good point. Cotton right now down 29 points at 59.55. And right after the break, we'll continue this conversation with Chris Swift. So stay with us right here on RFDTV at Rural Radio 147. Sugar market down 15 cents this morning at 11.72 as we kick into high gear over here on the livestock segment. And this is a show list day when the opportunity arises where many of the packers just kind of go through a list that's hanging out there at each and every one of the feedlots and see what cattle are available or ready for sale. Well, let's see what the futures are doing here this morning. We did start out with some weakness. We still got it too. June down 57, 95.50. August down 27 at 95.05. The October's down 2. So, Chris, we still got a lot of weakness over in this cattle market left over from last Friday.
We do. And there's a big task at hand. We are now halfway through the year. We have approximately 1.18 million head of cattle backed up. Our weights are coming down just ever so slightly, but year over year they're up dramatically. And we still have, we can now start to facilitate some of the bigger kills. Some of the backlog, we noted that after this week we'll probably be up 650, 660 for kill. So we're going to be able to start facilitating some of those bigger animals. But in doing so, we produce tremendous amounts more beef. And we're not real sure how these limited number of outlets that we can push that beef through are going to be able to handle this much product.
Well, I don't know about you, but I have spoken to a couple of folks who were out over the weekend, and I myself was out as well. And a lot of restaurants, even though that some are still at 50% capacity because of the COVID-19 rules, still were just at capacity. It seems like the consumer is still hungry for going out and grilling, not just beef, but pork and everything else as well.
Absolutely. I think there is a huge need and or desire by the consumer to get back to whatever we considered was normal before, and they're going to continue to do that. We just need to get the conflicts between the government and the healthcare to come to some kind of agreement where we can get more of these establishments open and do get back to somewhat what we might consider normal.
August feeders down 95 at 130.15. September feeders down $1, and October down 75. But the hog complex, it's weak as well. August down 20, 54.45. October hogs down 62 at 52.52. Your thoughts here?
Really, the hog market is the same way. We got production back up significantly. I think that the small little time frame, that 3 to 4 week time frame where we backed up quite a bit in hogs and we had to do some alternative methods there, I think that's pretty much cleaned up now. And I don't think that will have a great big impact, 2 more months down the road. I don't think you'll see a great big void in that. But again, as you continue with greater packing capacity on there, you're just going to produce more and more pork out there with it.